Well, it's opening morning in Illinois. Well, not necessarily opening morning, but opening morning for me. It's second gun and I'm out here with my shotgun and I'm planning to hunt completely from the ground, go spot and stock from basically food plot to food plot in the evenings and hunt the woods during the day. I'm gonna try a little bit of rattling, sit tight in a few places and just see what's gonna happen. Now there should be a big front coming in towards the end of the hunt, so I'm hoping this might get those bucks moving. If not, I'm still gonna put in the time and hopefully eventually they're gonna get on their feet and they'll be within my sight. Well, this gun is shooting perfect and I'm in Illinois where I've taken some huge bucks. So I'm gonna get out there and hunt hard. Like any deer hunter in the world, I love to hunt big bucks. It's a ton of fun and it's a huge rush to see a giant coming right down your way. But there's a lot of time that needs to be invested before that big buck can usually just come strolling down your way. Now granted, everybody can get lucky, but you need to put a few things to your advantage. Number one, you need to hunt a state that produces big bucks on a yearly basis. And for me, that is Illinois. Now the reason why? Well, it's simple. I started off coming to the state and was able to take a 202-inch buck after a pack of coyotes chased him right to me. Now, can you blame me? Now, of course, you can only hunt during a certain part of the season, but scouting and the preparation is a year-round sport. Now, for me, I like to start as soon as the season ends. I begin by shed hunting, finding the bucks that made it through the season, that have made it through the winter, and guessing what they're gonna look like for next year. Next will come the food plots. Now, you wanna make sure you've got good food sources on your property to keep the bucks there. They can have the low pressure because you're not gonna be hunting them hard. You can have the food sources and give them great protection for their bedding area. Combine all these, those bucks will never need to leave your property. Now that you've put in all the work before the season, you also want to find out exactly what big bucks are on your property and what deer are there. And there is no better way, in my opinion, to do that than to place cuttybacks out and find out exactly when and where the big bucks are coming through. You want to make sure you're putting your time in the correct locations. And the trail camera can be your best friend at this point because year-round you can watch the deer's patterns and place your stands accordingly. But I want to make sure that I have a confirmation from my trail camera that this will be a perfect setup before I spend one of those 1 of 4 precious days out hunting that spot. I not only do a lot of hunting each year, but I'm also a TV producer, so I'm used to filming other people. So it's kind of a treat sometimes when it's time to film myself. Now there's going to be nobody in the blind telling me whether yes, go ahead and shoot it or no, don't. It's all up to me. I love Illinois, but sometimes it's tough hunting. When you're trying to hunt from the ground, I'm used to hunting in tree stands, much easier up high. This is a whole added difficulty. You've got movement, you've got scent, and the hardest part is visibility. So I've tried to pick out spots that have a little higher of a vantage point. That way I can see the best I can possibly see. I'm gonna head to that big cornfield now.
Winchester's Deadly Passion is presented by Winchester, the American legend. Matthews, catch us if you can. Cuddyback Digital. Bog Pod, versatility defined. Easton, expect the best. Winchester Repeating Arms. and hunter safety system. It's late season whitetails, which means there's pretty much one place you'll find Melissa Buckman, Illinois.
Usually I would never think to bring my rattling horns along in December when I'm gun hunting in Illinois. But this year, things are different. The temperatures are still warm and the rut was extremely late this year. So sometimes all about adapting to change. I had a variety of places picked out. I had gone through, found some really big rubs, had great photos on that rub, and had several different food plots to choose from. The very first setup was kind of a mixture of all the different food plots put together. There were corn, there were turnips, everything you can imagine all in one food plot. Now this proved to be a pretty good setup location. I saw a really nice buck that got my finger a little itchy to pull the trigger, but I decided to just pass this buck and let him go through. He was very nice this year, but next year, he'd be one of those jaw droppers. That buck just took off the field, just slowly walked back in, but it's pretty tough to see where I'm at right now because I've got really limited visibility. That's the hard part with being on the ground. So I'm gonna do just a little bit of walking around and try to find a place that's up just a little bit higher. Even if I need to get off the field a little bit more, might be a longer shot, but should be a much higher elevation and have better shot angles. Now, yesterday I was out here, got to see a smaller size buck, not a shooter this year, but he might be a good up and comer in some does. But today I snuck back out to the same cornfield. I checked out a few of the other food plots, not much going. So I set up here a little bit earlier and I found this tree to get by, and it's a little higher rise. I can see a little bit better and have a better view, better shot angles on the deer. I've got a perfect rock solid spot. Although there's a few hard parts of hunting from the ground, there are a lot of advantages as well. One is that you can be mobile, and I wanted to use this advantage to its full potential. Where the most deer were, that's where I was going to plan to set up. So I'm kind of going food plot to food plot, checking the places. And the next place I'm going to a big open cornfield. Now the deer, they're loving to come out here. It's not super cold yet, but the does are coming out, and hopefully see one of those big boys step up. Now, one of my favorite things to do is place my cutty back right on the edge of corn. Now, a lot of people maybe wouldn't think of this because, well, there's no trees here. But if you put one of the post mounts there, you can place it anywhere you want. The corn actually acts as kind of a natural funnel for the deer as they come by, and you wouldn't believe the number of deer that you'll get coming on each side of the corn. Anytime there's a gap, an opening between the corn, the deer will follow. So it's a great place to put them on, and I've got some nice bucks coming through here. Now, it's just a matter of time that I'd be here when they're here. Keeping the amount of gear that I bring into the field to a minimum can be hard at times. But thanks to Swarovski, I now have an incredible binocular and rangefinder built into one with the EL range. This uses a top quality laser to give you precise and accurate distances in the field. And it's not much bigger than your standard EL. All that's been added are the 2 units underneath the binocular, and it fits into your palms really quite nicely, actually making it more stable for long distance glassing. So now you get the exceptional field of view and edge-to-edge clarity with the EL, but with a built-in rangefinder to make your hunts more successful.
Coming up,
I looked up and saw a big buck running across the cornfield.
Melissa continues her quest for late season Illinois bucks when Winchester's Deadly Passion returns. This week, Melissa is brandishing a shotgun on a late-season gun hunt in Illinois. The warm weather has brought about a late rut, but she's still looking for a shooter.
When I hunt, I like to sit all day or hunt all day. There's really no need to be coming in and out, and even though it usually slows between 10 and 2, it doesn't disturb the area and I can stay put. So I would sit in the woods during midday and then get up and move and find the location with the best food plot at that time. Now, the one place that really seemed to be a hot spot was a big cornfield that a lot of deer were coming to. The very first day, I set up right on the edge. Now, I saw a nice younger buck come through along with several does, but I didn't have a very good vantage point. And that can be one of the most difficult parts when you're sitting on the ground. You want to make sure you can see everything, and it just wasn't a great shot. Super low, everything was in my way, so I sat it out that day, but I plan to find a new place, a little higher elevation the next day, and come right back to this field because it had a lot of deer on it, and it was only a matter of time before the big bucks started pouring out. Well, the sun's starting to set, and we've got does coming into the field. We've got quite a few in already. They've been filtering in for probably the last half hour, and that's good. We've got a couple little bucks, nothing big yet, but we're definitely in position. About 150-yard shots, what it's looking like, but I've got a little higher elevation than I had yesterday, so I'm hoping that big boy comes back through. The deer were still coming out to feed. A little bit later than I was hoping, but they were still coming up. As it was getting almost too dark for the camera, I looked up and saw a big buck running across the cornfield. Now it was almost dark, but I could see that he was hot on a young doe. That was one nice buck. I could see from all the way back here how big he is. We're just running low on light and he was cruising. Too far, 250 yards running that fast. Looks like I'm gonna be waiting for tomorrow and can only hope he's coming out. Now the good news is they're still chasing does, and these food plots is where the does want to be. So if the does are going to be here, I'm thinking the bucks will be here too. Now right now, even though it's in the beginning of December, the young does were coming into estrus. This year was a super late rut, and usually you don't see that much rutting action in December, but this year was different, and I plan to take full advantage of it. If he was hot on that young doe, I knew he probably wouldn't go far from this area, and this was exactly where I wanted to be set up tomorrow.
Tip of the week is brought to you by Can-Am. The facts say a lot, but the ride says it all.
When it comes to using scents and attractants for your deer hunts, a high-quality scent is essential. And with Special Golden Estrus, every single bottle has its own unique serial number and use-by date, so you know it's fresh. A buck's sense of smell is incredible, so you want to ensure you're using the scent he's looking for. Special Golden Estrus uses fresh and super premium natural doe urine with estrus secretions to bring those big bucks in close. I like to set it up on a key wick about 6 feet above the ground for maximum scent dispersal. I put these around the perimeter of my hunting location and at my maximum shooting range, so that way you can bring those big boys in close.
Winchester's Deadly Passion is presented by Swarovski Optic, North American Hunting Club, Rage Broadheads, Golden Triangle Whitetail, Can-Am ATVs and side-by-side vehicles, Scent Killer Gold with Hunt Dry technology. Apply it, dry it, and go hunt. And M&P, Advanced by Design. Closed captioning is brought to you by the 4-in-1 Woodsman from Zippo Outdoor. Now this is what Melissa Bachman is looking for. A nice, mature, tall-tined buck. One that is representative of this part of Illinois, and one that she'd be happy to take home. This bruiser came by her stand during bow season.
He was at 18 yards for 8 minutes. And you know what? He got away. He walked away, never was a clear shot. And it's bucks like that that want to make you keep hunting. Now that the gun season's coming in, well, I couldn't be happier to put a slug gun in my hands and hit those exact same woods.
The woods she's hunting are managed by Golden Triangle Whitetail, located in the phenomenal western side of Illinois that borders Missouri.
Now, I've been lucky enough to hunt with Golden Triangle Whitetails for 5 years now, and I've taken some giant bucks. We've put in a lot of time hanging stands, getting food plots ready, but ultimately it comes down to they have the best land in the area. Although I've had some wonderful, successful hunts in Illinois, it's not all about the kill here. It's a place that I've grown accustomed to, and I get to take home some wonderful venison and see an entire plan come together that I've been working on for over a year. We've got a bunch of does out there right now, a smaller buck, and the time is getting good. I'm thinking these bucks are gonna start filtering out soon. The weather had definitely got these deer moving, and it's everything I had hoped for. I gotta wait till he turns broadside. He's facing right at me. I just got the big buck that I'm almost positive it's the buck we saw last night. We're getting right to the end of shooting line. Oh, he came right out of the edge, right where all the other deer were. I'm not even positive how big he was. I didn't want to sit there and count points because all I knew is he was a shooter, and I put that slug right in his shoulder. I think he went right down off the field, but the other bucks, does, everything was out feeding, had time to wait for the broadside shot, and I put it right in his shoulder. This slug gun did the perfect trick. I know he just probably went down just a little ways, but I think I'm gonna just stay hidden here. There's still deer on the other side of the field. I'm gonna wait till it gets dark and then go over there. I'm sure he's not far inside. This slug gun punched right through the shoulder. I can't even wait to go see him. I'm not sure exactly how big he is, but I know he's nice. Now I've waited until it was completely dark because I did not want to spook the deer off, but I know this buck did not make it far. I'm right off the field edge, and I know he's got to be just up here a little ways. So the rain is coming, and good thing it was a perfect shot and I don't have to do a lot of blood trailing. What an awesome buck. Look at this. Now I knew this was a nice looking buck, but I did not know he had this. Most people see ground shrinkage. I've got a case of ground growth here. What an awesome deal. And you know what? I think this is the same buck that I had at 18 yards during bow season and didn't quite connect. This was the exact same buck that I had an encounter with during the bow season over a mile away. Now that shows you how far these big bucks will travel during the rut, and never give up, because just because something doesn't come through earlier in the season doesn't mean you won't have a crack at them later. Just a beautiful deer. Now this right here, this is what all the patience and persistence of Illinois can pay off to be, an absolute giant. Well, there's no place I would rather wrap up this season than in Illinois, and it was a great time. We had tons of trail cam pictures, and I finally was able to get that big buck that I had saw earlier in the season. But just because this season is over, well, don't worry, we've got more great videos coming at you next year. In fact, I'm already out starting my season right now. I've been to Florida and had some incredible gator hunting where I was doing it spot and stock, going after these big gators. Then, well, I decided to take my mom on her first ever Montana antelope hunt. We had a bow and we were having an incredible time. And I actually got her that bow for Mother's Day, so it makes for a great story. And she made a great shot and we had a wonderful hunt. Then, well, I've got a couple dream hunts coming up as well. I'm headed to Alaska for a brown bear hunt with my bow. Now, I've always been wanting to go after a big old brown bear, and this year it's finally happening. Plus, after that, I get to go to Africa for a lion. So we have got some amazing hunts in store, and don't worry, we'll be going after the whitetails as well. So stay tuned for season 3 of Winchester Deadly Passion. I thank you for watching, and I look forward to bringing you a ton of great hunts next season.